I'm Charlotte. You're watching The Ugly Atheist. I was having some technical difficulties and I'm having to use different recording software. So this episode might be a little bit different as a result. But I first of all want to wish you a Merry Christmas since Christmas is a couple days away. And hope you are going to enjoy the time with your family and loved ones, and that it's a drama free and stress free. Well, it's never going to be stress free, but drama free at least, and non toxic holiday, unless, of course, you enjoy toxifying with some beverages, but that's not the kind of toxic I'm talking about. So, we're going to finish up this list of the 15 styles of distorted thinking. um, this will be the last one of this 3-part series. So let me pull this up and we'll get into it. I think we left off on um, should. So the next one is emotional reasoning. It says you believe that what you feel must be true automatically. If you feel stupid and boring, then you must be stupid and boring. So um, this is something that a lot of us do, or all of us probably do this. Um, we're emotional animals. We are emotional creatures. So, and I think a lot of people get into religion by thinking emotionally. I think these descriptions are very, very vague, and the names are very vague. Emotional reasoning, that could literally be anything from having joining a religion because of a significant other you're trying to impress, or you feel if your family is involved in a specific type of religion, then you have an emotional connection with that, so you join it too. So these are emotional decisions. It could also mean, like what this example is saying, where if you feel a certain way, then you think that it's the reality. I know that often feel what this example says, stupid and boring. Is that what it says? Yeah. This example says stupid and boring, but of course you can fill in any adjective, um, even if it's not a negative uh, adjective. Like if you feel capable and competent when you're really not, that could still be the same problem, where emotionally you feel like you could take on the world, but then when you go to do so, you fail miserably. Um, so it's, again, not so much a distortion in thinking, but just irrational, because just because you feel a certain way, obviously that doesn't translate into the reality of a situation. Like, I named my channel because I feel unattractive, and the reality is I really am unattractive. We have fallacy of change. It says you expect that other people will change to suit you. If you just pressure or cajole them enough, you need to change people because your hope for happiness seems to depend entirely on them. Now, I have to admit, this is not one that I feel resonates with me. I don't, this seems kind of foreign to my own thinking. Um, I guess this might be something that we might see among younger generations, where I don't know if you are familiar with the comedian Zoltan. He's a millennial, and he was talking about his own generation. And he said, the problem with millennials, with my generation, is that we're just too self aware. And that's not a good thing, because we all know exactly what's wrong with us. Like, I have anxiety, but we're not doing anything about it. The person will say, I have anxiety. And then Zoltan said, well, good. So what are you doing about it? Nothing. I'm just telling you that I have anxiety so that you can work around it. So that's kind of what comes to mind when I read this description, where you're expecting people to change for your benefit rather than you changing for their benefit, or having a mutual give and take with changes in behavior or attitude with regard to one another. Um, so yeah, that's, I don't know, maybe because I'm older, that doesn't, this particular one, I don't, doesn't seem familiar to me. It's not one, I guess if I could say that one of these 15 styles is not something that I have, that's probably it. But again, you never know, because we all have our blind spots, and maybe I totally have this one, but I'd have to ask people close to me if this is something that I exhibit or not. But okay. So the next one we have is global labeling. It says you generalize one or two qualities into a negative global judgment. I definitely do this. And I try to work against it because I know it's irrational, but I think that's my natural tendency. Like, to give you an example, I work fairly far from where I live, so I spend a lot of time on the road commuting early in the morning, or, in the afternoon when I get home from work. So I encounter a lot of different kinds of drivers, and I find that the every time I look in rear view mirror and I'm being tailgated by somebody, which is daily, and I don't even drive that slow. I drive the speed limit, but that's clearly too slow for people. But every time I look, it's the tailgater is always driving a Honda, and it seems like the most aggressive drivers on the road, as far as I can tell, as far as my experience, they're Honda drivers, followed closely by BMW drivers. None of them use their blinkers, and they tailgate, they zip in and out of traffic, they're speeding, or just being generally reckless. There are sometimes the Hondas have their cars are extra loud. They mess with the muffler or whatever. But so is it really the case that all aggressive drivers drive Hondas? No, of course not. It's just something that I've noticed. It's anecdotal, and it's not always the case, but it happens with enough frequency to where my brain automatically makes that connection. Like, well, all Honda drivers are just jerks, which is, of course, not the case. I used to drive a Honda. I had a Honda a long time ago. Um, and maybe I was a jerk. Actually, I don't, I don't think I was, but yeah, I do this, and it's a difficult one to. I mean, it's definitely a strong tendency to overgeneralize. I think that we do that because it saves time. Probably goes back to our evolutionary past, where we have to make quick judgments, so that it to err on the side of miscategorizing a person, um, in a cautious sense, it would aided in our survival, as opposed to just trusting everyone, or just taking everyone, judging each person individually. That takes a lot of emotional energy. Takes a lot of physical energy. Um, so it's just much simpler to say, oh, a person from this tribe or group, was aggressive or dangerous or violent before, so I'm just going to assume the whole rest of their group is probably similar. Then we have being right. Geez, some of these titles, like, could you get any more vague? The description is you are continually on trial to prove that your opinions and actions are correct. Being wrong is unthinkable, and you will go to any length to demonstrate your rightness. Yeah, this is definitely one component of narcissism, is that you don't view yourself as being wrong, and you don't even realize when you are arguing for the sake of being right, rather than for the sake of arriving at the truth of a matter. Um, I found myself doing this before, and I think this is not an uncommon behavior. Nobody likes to be wrong. Um, and if there's a chance to argue our way into being seeming right about a subject or a situation, then we often will take that route. Um, but yeah, the tendency or the the hard part is recognizing, like, hey, wait a minute, like thinking to yourself, I'm actually wrong in this instance, so I should probably just admit that I'm wrong. And okay, all right, sorry. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is not a distortion so much as an irrational thinking style. And finally, the last one, heaven's reward fallacy. You expect all your sacrifice and and self-denial to pay off, as if there were someone keeping score. You feel bitter when the reward doesn't come. Yeah, this is definitely a religious mindset. It doesn't have to be religious, but it often is, where you forego the pleasures um, in life, or you forego doing a lot of things or taking opportunities or enjoying things because you feel like if you keep yourself from enjoying life too much, then some cosmic being is keeping score, and then at the end of your life you'll get some major reward. But it is I guess the reward in reality is just that the dopamine hit that you get from doing the self-sacrifice, because that's its own reward. And it it does tend to be a religious mindset. um, but it can happen to atheists too, of course, where you just have the general tendency to you feel like you do you you forego going to parties or events, and you feel like somehow that makes you maybe a better person with perhaps more self-control if you like turn down drink. So let's see, I guess so. That was the last one. It seems like all of these could be categorized into groups of um, a lot of them are just overgeneralizing the world around you and personalizing the world around you. Those seem like the two main categories that all these fall into. And I'm not sure what the benefit of putting all of these into a list and making this list seem like it's titling it with a negative title. Um, these are just common human thinking styles, and I don't know that we're doing ourselves any favors by villainizing what's normal. I guess it's good to point out different kinds of thinking styles and how they could be irrational and how they could be a problem, but villainizing what is natural and normal is, I've always taken umbrage with that, because I don't feel like it's useful or fair to make somebody feel horrible about being normal. If someone's reading this, doesn't know any better, I say these are 15 styles of distorted thinking, then their reaction would be to deny all of them. Like, what control fallacy? I don't do that. I don't have control fallacy. And they'll look at all these things that are perfectly normal behaviors as being bad, and so they'll try to they might feel, if they exhibit any of these, they'll start to become sort of fake people. I think if you deny your own nature, um, I mean, it's good to acknowledge it and understand your tendency and to work against it, on a personal level. But if you don't have that degree of introspection and you just work on trying to avoid all of these, or even just you still experience these styles of thinking, but you just deny it, you become fake, you become a liar. So yeah, I'm kind of questioning the motive and the intent behind such a list as this. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. I am Charlotte, and you're watching The Ugly Atheist. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. And if you have any comments about today's episode or any of the episodes, leave a comment below. I enjoy reading them, and I try to respond to all of them, because there's only a couple of you that really ever comment. But that's good enough for me, and I welcome the discussion. And I learn something new all the time. You guys are clearly much smarter than I am, so I learn a lot of neat things, neat information. So we'll see you next week, and Merry Christmas.